sort of on the neck, that mane is sticking straight up. A zebra is always going to be fat. They're hindgut fermenters, so they digest their food in a way that produces a lot of gas, so their bellies are always looking very big. And what you can see there, you can see it from there, and then what you can see with that mane is that if the zebra was ill, the illness would dissolve the fat molecule at the base of the hair, and then the mane would fall over from side to side. It wouldn't stick straight up like that. So they're in good nick, these zebra. Very good nick. I didn't do it. You are asking, do zebras sleep standing up? They do. The younger ones lie down, but they don't sleep for very long. It's just resting here or there. Like this male right now is resting. You can see he's got his back right foot is up at a little bit of an angle. It's a nice little resting pose. His eyes are sort of half closed, but constantly listening. They have to be aware of their surroundings all the time. So their rest periods are usually during the heat of the day. In the middle of the day, when predators should be less active. But even that being said, of very hot, very arid areas where they'll also start making their way down to water at those times of day. So it's these tiny little rest periods that they have now that keep them going. So a tiger has stripes. If you shave a tiger, the stripes go through to the skin. But a zebra's stripes do not go through to the skin. A zebra originally in their evolutionary process was all black, and they developed the white stripes over time. So in the back of my head just now, there was some of the guys yesterday afternoon said that there was cheetah tracks coming in from the Manuleti side and moving east, which means moving sort of towards us. And I'm sitting here with these zebra and I'm going, I really just want this cheetah to pop out somewhere. I personally have never heard of or seen a single cheetah taking down a zebra, but they would be a good indicator of telling us if this single cheetah was around. And I also really would like to see a cheetah in this area. I haven't seen one in this area in a very long time. So James is tracking something very slowly and very precisely, so let's head over to him and see what it is.
I am tracking something very slimy, but I feel it because it's Sunday, I should be able to take a load off for a little while. So that's what I'm doing. And tracking something slimy like this, well, makes one want to take a load off because they don't move very quickly at all. Just look at that. All across the road here there is a line of little pieces of slime. And it is, of course, a snail trail. It is the only indication we have of a snail going past here. And somehow it has left a whole lot of its lubricating slime on the road. Isn't that cool? Well, I mean, it's not cool, it's just quite interesting. I will tell you that Herbert has done, I like to use the term we, but I mean Herbert has done a remarkable tracking job with Tundi. She has definitely now gone back to the den. We're not far from it at all. We're not going to get any closer, so we're going to go up towards Hyena Road and see what we can find that side by the pans. But she's crossed straight over this road here and is heading directly back towards the termite mound where she gave birth and where she is no doubt now suckling her little babies, who hopefully we will see very soon indeed. Okay, let us continue. I must confess to you that I slept slightly strangely last night, which means that I've got a bit of a crick in the neck. So if I look slightly arthritic, it is because I've got a bit of a crick in the neck. See? I didn't do it. Do you want to know how a snail makes that slime? I'm not sure of the physiological process by which it is made. I think it is made entirely, though, for lubrication purposes. Of course, a snail has got no discernible foot. Well, it's got one foot and a very complicated set of muscles that move or ripple and allow the snail to move. And I think that without the lubrication, the foot would dry out very quickly, the snail would dry out very quickly, and then it would die, obviously, but also it would be unable to make the ripples of its muscles move over whatever surface it's chosen to walk on. So I'm not sure of the exact physical process or physiological process, but it is formed throughout the entire foot underneath it, and if you pick one up, you can feel it being left on your hand. Alrighty, Jamie has, we were going on to Hyena Road, and Jamie has found, Liam? A hyena.
Well, we've found a hyena. I was actually just about to say to you all that this place is like a ghost town, this area underneath the escarpment, but then I came around the corner and there was this hyena, standing, sniffing the wind. I wonder what it's going to find for us, because I think something's really caught its attention on a scent level. Of course, hyenas have exceptionally powerful noses. Most animals do, far more acute than our sense of smell. Now, Patty, it's a question that we often get when it comes to hyenas, because they kind of look like dogs, don't they? But they are not closely related to dogs or canines. They're not part of the canid family. They're not part of the felid family either. They're not part of the cat family. They are in fact an entire family all on their own. So if you view cats and dogs as distinct from each other, view hyenas as something else entirely. So they belong to the Hyenidae family. Now if you go back far enough, they are slightly more closely related to cats than they are to dogs, but you'll find that the family connection is more closely related to something like a mongoose, for example, or a honey badger. And that's one of the things that links those families, is the highly developed anal glands that hyenas have. They create something called an anal paste that they deposit as a scent marker on blades of grass and various trees. Very, very pungent, and of course contains all the information that another hyena might need to know about that individual. What was there? Nothing interesting. I thought you were going to lead me to this... Oh, you're going to lie down. I thought you were going to lead me to the sausage tree pride. But instead you're going to choose to have a nap in the road. Is there something worth investigating? It's got tricky in this area already. You can see how long the grass is. Now imagine a lion lying down off the road somewhere in the grass, and you can imagine you just struggle to see them unless they swish their tail. I'll come back to this hyena. I just want to do a little... Hello, don't worry. I just want to do it. Oh, there's another one. Okay. 2 hyenas. He's looking up. So 2 hyenas lying patiently. This might just have been a place they've chosen to rest, or there might be a lion kill. Now, Kristen, of course we talk about hyenas as scavengers, or at least in this particular situation, they might be lurking, hoping to get some scraps from the lions, but you are absolutely right in that they are indeed hunters as well as scavengers, and in fact in certain areas hunt more than they scavenge. So the type of prey that the hyena will hunt will depend very much upon whether or not they have the advantage of numbers. So a large hyena clan could hunt a buffalo. They could actually tackle and take on a zebra. There's 2 hyenas in here. What are you lot up to? No, don't worry, don't get up on my account. Where are the lions? So hyenas do chase zebra. In this area what we've noticed is they're very clever in the way that they do that, and they often utilize the terrain in a way that is very clearly a demonstration of their problem-solving abilities. So So they'll chase zebra onto rocky areas. They'll chase them around areas where they know they could potentially fall over. Wildebeest are also on a hyena's menu. Any kind of antelope, potentially. Even an injured eland, if there were enough hyena, they would be able to hunt it. Now their approach is different. Hello? What? Why are you here? Have you been harassing lions all night? Yes, I'm talking to you. So their approach is very different to that of a large cat. So what they do is they've got phenomenal stamina, and they harass the animal that they're trying to hunt constantly until they manage to find, let's say they're hunting a herd, they manage to find some sign of weakness, something where for example, the animal might have an injured or a broken leg or something along those lines, and they harass until that animal is exhausted, and then they snap at it and they kill it. So during the time of the migration, all of the predators have a very easy time of things. This time of year, it's slightly more difficult, especially for the animals that live along this escarpment, because you don't find that much along here. What are you looking down at? Have you got even more hyenas down there? Why do they always look so guilty? Like they've done something naughty. Would you mind if I came and had a closer look at what you guys are up to? I didn't do it. Probably a hyena's strongest sense is its sense of smell. But it is a difficult question to answer because all of their senses are very, very acute. And we can't put ourselves in the mind of the hyena, so we can't really determine this is exactly what they rely upon. So in certain circumstances, when the wind is blowing, you'll find that they're able to smell things, and yes, they do, of the predators, they do have an exceptionally keen sense of smell. But there might be a situation where they hear something, and they see pretty well, particularly where movement is concerned. Bouncing, listening, sniffing. It's a combination of all of their senses. Of course, hyenas are also spectacular problem solvers. That's one of the things that makes them so thoroughly entertaining, is that they're always busy, they're always up to something, or at least most of the time they're up to something. I'm going to go and see if I can find the lions, because I suspect that's why the hyenas are here. But while I do that, let's send you back over to the other side of the river and find out whether or not Brent's cheetah have decided whether or not they're going to go for a walk.
Well, we've got a little bit of movement. The wind's got a bit stronger, so they could be deciding to take advantage of this strong wind, enabling them to sneak up on some potential prey. So one of the boys is up, and there's a bit of grooming, a bit of yawning, a bit of roly-poly, and that's always good signs that the cheetah might be about to get up on the move. They could, however, just walk into the shade and flop down, but I don't think so. This wind is keeping the morning cool. This morning night. So as I said, we could be in for some luck. And you can see that they're by no means starving, but they are definitely a bit more hungry than they were. Now, unfortunately, it seems like we are having a little bit of picture breakup. We do apologize, but we are coming to you live from the African bush. So sometimes these things do happen. And there we go. One's up, 2, 3, stretchy. It's time to go catch some breakfast. You can see some of them are more hungry than others. So that one at the back is definitely more hungry than the one closest to us. Oh, they're all up now. All of them are up and on the move. I'm just going to make sure that there's nothing up ahead that they might get upon. So being in the right position now is very important. Hi guys. It's time to go hunting, or are you going to flop down in this bit of shade? Now, with a lot of big cats, getting up and going on the hunt is a gradual process. Jump up, lie down, jump up, have a stretch, move around. See, this one in the front definitely seems hungrier than the others, or more hungry, and so might be keen to lead a hunt, stopping at the gardenia for a quick scent mark. Obtuse Willie would like to know, do cheetah eat every day? Well, not necessarily. There we go, boys marking their territory. Not necessarily. They will try eat every day. It depends on what size prey they catch, or if their prey is stolen. Cheetah lose about 50% of all the animals that they kill to other predators as an average. These boys probably keep a bit more just because there's 5 of them, and they are able to chase off a lone hyena, whereas a single cheetah wouldn't dare try chase off a hyena. They are absolutely gorgeous cats. Now the males are a bit bigger than the females, but not too much bigger. And the females, however, are often a little bit faster. I'm just going to wait for the last cheetah to cross our path, and then I'm going to scoot round to the other side of the croton thickets. Okay, let's have it. Holbert's wondering, are cheetah identifiable by spot patterns like leopards? Yes, they are. You don't look at the same line of spot patterns like you do with leopards across the top lip. You generally will look at sometimes tail rings, spots on the face, but not that sort of line of spots like you look at with leopards. Okay, I'm just... There we go. Waiting for the last gentleman to mark his territory, and then I'm going to scoot past. Well done, sir, well done. Now, let's move round to the other side of the thickets. Now, I'm quite excited now because it's going to give me a chance to see what's coming up ahead. I can see some zebra so far. Now, they ideally are going to be looking for a sub-adult wildebeest, or maybe a baby topi or baby coax hartebeest, but they are entirely capable of taking an adult, as we've seen. Let's see, has anyone made it out the other side yet? I should be about to. Let's have a quick squeeze. I saw some movement in the thickets here, but I've lost sight of them now. Now, of course, as I said, with a lot of big cats, getting up and getting on the move is a gradual process. Sometimes they'll stop, have a snooze, have a scent mark, as we just saw, before they continue on their missions. I was having a quick look in my binoculars, what is around ahead of us. Mary's wondering, does cheetah urine have a smell? Mary, it does, but it's not nearly as prominent as, say, leopard urine that smells like buttered popcorn. If you're a cheetah, I'm sure you can pick up the smell immediately, but I actually, as a human being, can't smell a distinct smell from the cheetah urine. Here they come, slowly. Now, there are some wildebeest to the north of us, and who knows, are they going to head that way, back towards Talek a bit? Now, as we headed toward this area, there were quite a few Grants and Thompson's gazelles, but they've all seemed to have moved off. But they're the wildies down there. Now, there could be more wildies closer that we can't see yet, just over one of the rises. Yeah, well, we're going to play our patience game, and I think today we're going to get lucky, unlike yesterday when they were fat and flat, lazy cats. But let's go see what smaller things Jamie has found in the triangle.
Well, Jamie may have found many small things in the triangle, but James, who is me, has found, well, a big, dead, old leadwood tree. And Liam was asking me what I thought would happen if something large, or if a car was to drive into it at 60 miles an hour, and I said I'd worry more probably about the driver than I would about the car. That is not why we stopped here originally. Come over here, please, Wumpy. We stopped at this tamboti tree because it has got a number of growths on it. Here they are. And I tried to find out what they were, but I'm afraid I failed, and so I cut one open. And there are two interesting things that have come out of it. One is this strange worm. I think that's a worm. Maybe it isn't. It might. No, it's not. In fact, it's a piece of the plant. Never mind. But there is the owner of the gall. It's a little mite. You see it there, Vim?
Yeah.
That little red thing there. I will try and expose it further. I feel a little bit bad doing this, but not very bad. Not bad enough for me to stop. Let me just try and break it open again. Get my knife out. There, he's coming out. There we are. See? And I think that's a mite, which is a sort of arachnid, quite closely related to a tick of some sort. And I don't know, I mean, I'm assuming that this is where they make their home. He's the only one I've seen in here. I haven't seen any others. And if you look at the surface of one of these galls, you can see that they obviously come in and out. Now somehow nature has given them the ability, it's the ability to infect the plant that they grow on. So this tamboti tree, they'll come here and they'll inject some sort of toxin, and the tree will then develop this gall or growth, and they will then live inside it. And again, it would be lovely to have this with the microscope. Anyway. Yeah, consulting detective, you're absolutely right. You say we need the microscope. Now, it is just after 7 o'clock in the morning, and you might just be able to hear the sound of the cicadas. That gives you an idea as to how hot it's going to be today. 7 o'clock in the morning, cicadas are already up and about. That means it's going to be a stinker today. Is it not, Liam?
Yeah, I think so.
This is going to be a big stinker. Alright, let's put this fellow back here. I do feel a little bit bad. I'm not sure he's going to survive. But, you know, in the name of science and all that. Jamie, you're wondering about butterflies and if there are some. I haven't seen any, no. But do you see, a day like today is going to change many things. We haven't had a hot, sunny day since the rain. And the water is sitting in the soil, and all of the insects that live in the soil will now start to come out, like this cicada. And so a hot day like today will inspire a lot of growth from the flowers and emergences from the insects. So I think after today we're probably going to see some butterflies. Let us continue. I read something very interesting about tamboti trees. They apparently grow in these monospecific stands. That particular one is an unusual anomaly. An unusual anomaly, that's the tautology. It is an anomaly. And they normally infect the soil in some way to stop other trees growing, and that's why they grow in these sort of orchards of only tamboti trees. And they're, of course, well, we know that they're toxic, but they are controlled, apparently, largely by porcupines. Now, let us go back across to Noelle. I'm not sure where she is on this reserve, but she is seeking and looking for things that might be dying from above.
James, I'm hiding from you. I've run away. No, Seb and I have found this Wahlberg's eagle being dive bombed by this fork-tailed drongo, and we're just trying to be able to get it in focus for you. I'm pretty sure you guys might be able to see a couple of black specks flying there. And they just go to the top of the screen. Oh, now it's above us. We can't turn the camera above us. I just want to give it a minute and see if maybe they can come into a better field of view for us, but it looks like the action is over. So sorry. Okay, so we are here over on Chitwa. We had no luck picking up any cheetah tracks, and we had no luck, unfortunately, helping James with his search for Tundi, and I believe James says he thinks that she's back at the den. So we are now going to investigate the dam since it's warmed up, but we're going to take a big loop around. I want to go check the airstrip first and check the sort of little hillside just by it and see if anything is around. We've had some really nice zebra, which was good, but we would like to see if we could maybe find you some elephants. I would like to see if the buffalo are ever going to come back. That would be nice. And yeah, the bird life is popping up a little bit more as well. So let's drive along and see what we can. Oh, I can hear Deirdre's cuckoo. Why? Every time. There. Can we hear it? Deirdre's. I'll show it to you so long. Maybe it'll come closer. All right, here's the Deirdre's cuckoo here. And that green, this drawing doesn't do it justice. This green is very, 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 very vibrant. Most birds call their name. It's one of the reasons why you'll hear us repeat Deirdre's. It's a mnemonic that we help to remember it, but their calls really do repeat their names. Now, there is just below here is the Claus's cuckoo, and we have a viewer, I believe it's James Richardson, that has not ticked this bird off yet. James, Tristan told me about your plight, and I am busy trying to find one for you. He says, Mikey, Mikey, Mikey. And Mikey is a friend in Afrikaans, so don't worry. And it's on the list of birds that I definitely want to show to everybody. Okay, let's carry on. Let me just reverse a wee bit. And we will go and have a look. And see what's happening. So it's interesting, Seb and I have been chatting about this morning and what's been going on and where we've been headed and where we've been driving. And it's interesting for such a morning filled with sunshine that it's going to be a hot day. It's amazing that we haven't seen more mammal species especially popping up. But I'm sure that they're going to get there. And while we're busy trying to find you something, let's head on over to Brent, who has some cheetah love he'd like to share.
There we go. As I said, sometimes animals, big cats getting up on the move is a gradual process. So they only walked about 20 meters, flopped down at the edge of the crotons, a little bit of grooming going on. Heads are still up though, so they haven't gone properly flat yet. So definitely still potential for them to go on the hunt this morning. Although D'Artagnan's decided it's nap time. It's tired kitty. The others though, still a bit of movement there, heads are up, some rolling around, some allo grooming and some self grooming. Anna Marie's wondering, can cheetah growl? Yes, they can. Not very deeply. Once they finish growling, if they get really upset, they sort of have a yowl afterwards. But as you can see, the wind is really, really pumping up here. And that could help them, could get them going. But on the other hand, they might just nap. You never know what's going to happen here. But we're going to definitely sit here for the majority of the day to see what they do get up to next. Because as soon as you leave them, that's when something happens. As I say, there's still good signs, all the grooming. Although two of them are 3 of them now are very flat cats. But a wildebeest might stumble up here, a Thompson's gazelle might wander too close, so you never know what could happen next. And that's the joy about being on a live African safari. And of course, the other joy is we can answer your questions. So use the hashtag SafariLive if you want to send through questions to any of us, whether we be in South Africa or in Kenya. So there we go. Up, going to go have a word with you're going to have a word with D'Artagnan? Kylie is wondering, can cheetahs sneeze? Yes, all mammals have the ability to sneeze. So yes, they do sneeze, and they sneeze quite frequently, actually. Now, is that the hungry one, or is that not the hungry cheetah? So one of the cheetah is definitely more hungry than the other 4. And you're just going to flop down on top of there. A strong wind today. And so we're going to play the patience game with these cheetah. I'm hoping they will get on the move shortly. While we do that, let's go back to Jamie, who's bumbling about in the triangle.
I'm bumbling about and not having very much success, I have to say. I have searched pretty much everywhere I can think of for the sausage tree pride. Every single road I've seen them on before. Every single lugger that I've seen them in before. And I have had no luck. I think I'm going to give up now. It's quite sad. I was really hoping we'd find them this morning, but they just don't seem to be anywhere. I don't blame them though, because as I've been driving along, I have not found one single thing that they would actually want to eat. There's no food around for them. I wonder what you are. There's a man with a very large camera pointing it in that direction. Perhaps he knows something I don't. I think he's just filming scenery. Quite a impressive camera though. Unless the lions are down here somewhere, which is possible. I'm going to search for something exciting to show you. Perhaps we'll go and find some elephants or something along those lines. Now, while the search continues in Kenya, James is out on foot and he'd like to show you something that smells very nice and you could potentially put in your food.
We're live, are we? Good. Okay, what we have here is something that smells very nice. It is wild basil. And it smells, surprisingly, like basil. Now, it's part of this aromatic group of flowers, the Ocimum species, where it might be a slightly different genus, but it is very closely aligned. The Ocimum species, and they are all aromatic. This one smells like basil, and then, of course, we get the wild aniseed, which smells like, well, unsurprisingly, aniseed. Yes, much smaller than this one. I think you can actually cook with this wild basil. And Noelle was saying something quite interesting yesterday. She was talking about how some birds will take aromatic plants up into their nests in order to perhaps get rid of parasites and that sort of thing. And she suggested perhaps that a Wahlberg's eagle might take some of this up. And I thought that was quite a nice suggestion. I initially thought she just said basil. She didn't say wild basil. And I thought, I imagined what my mother would do if she found a Wahlberg's eagle raiding her basil patch at home. And then I realized, of course, that she meant this wild basil. Then there is also a fly over here. Can you see it, Wumpy? There we are. It is there. Got it? Mm-hmm. And the sun has just not quite reached into the bottom of this drainage system. And that means that the fly is not warm enough to fly away yet. I don't know what kind of fly it is. Again, the microscope would be extremely useful in this case. And we are, of course, looking at finding a mobile microscope, so that we can, in fact, use it for incidents like this when we're not near the tent. Isn't that nice? So that is wild basil and a little fly. Also, a flower that has just come up. Oh no, this isn't. This is fascinating, actually. Hang on. Here it is. I'm not going to pick it. But I think, hang on. 1 second. That is different. Yeah, I thought it was. This is Justicia flava, if I'm not mistaken. Just coming up. One of the first examples of the year. Pretty yellow flower, but absolutely no scent whatsoever. Now there he is. Alright. Lots of wild basil here, so if you were a cook or a Wahlberg's eagle looking to beautify your nest, this would be a good space for you to come. Alrighty, on we go. Herbert has given up on trying to find leopards. In fact, he's looking a little bit depressed, to be honest. So I'm going to talk to him, try and buoy his spirits somewhat. And while we do that, let's head across to Noelle. I didn't hear what she's doing, where she is, or what she's about.
So I have some really amazing tracks from zebra. So it's interesting, sorry, I'm just going to try and not put the sunlight on them. It's interesting, zebra are the only hooved animal that we have out here that can roll all the way around. So you can actually see here, here's the bum end, okay? And then coming through, and this is the sides, and they're rolling all the way around from one side to the other and one side to the other. There's a bit of confusion here. There are wildebeest tracks that are walking on top of here, but it wasn't a wildebeest. It was these zebra here. And you can see them here and here. So like a horse hoof. Yeah, with the little frog in the middle. Exactly like it. And there was 2 of them. So there was this one, and then there was also the one down here. Now, I've never seen one as precise as this, which is why I really wanted to show it to you. It's very, very interesting. You can see the little wrinkles, and then he came up, or didn't come up, sorry, and then he rolled to the side. So it's basically rolling like this. I was excited. And it's fresh. I can't see them, but they were definitely here recently. So we can add that to our track lexicon. Okay. So, with our very beautiful, slightly quiet morning, I think a trip to the dam is definitely in order. Nothing really happening around the airstrip. Sorry, as I just reverse here. And this beautiful area with all of these wonderful marula trees, also looking a little bit quiet. Oh, we've got a little shongololo, a millipede crossing the road there. He's leaving an interesting track. Let's get off and go and look. So can you see the double line track he's leaving here, the sort of railway track as he comes through? So millipedes are herbivores. They'll eat grass and plants and move during the day. And then a centipede will move more at night and is a carnivore, and will have pincers at the back and tend to be more of a red color. Look at this, so precise. Now I'm not going to pick him up, because if I try and pick him up, he's going to curl up. He might go to the toilet. It'll just stress him out a little bit. But we can see, you can actually see the legs there now on the side. Very, very, very cool. Centipedes will have less legs. Absolutely incredible. Thanks, Seb. So milli meaning millions and centi meaning hundreds. That's basically Basically the difference there. So when Seb is busy filming like this, I've got a little monitor that watches it so I can see what you see, and it I find it so fascinating that we can get in so close to these insects. You can really see how they're functioning. I mean, even more close than my eyes could see when I was leaning over it now. So the question, I believe, Kirst, was what eats a millipede, and was that from Jojo? From Ginger. Sorry, Ginger. Ginger, you're asking what eats millipedes. Civets will eat a millipede. When a millipede is not in good condition, ants will eat a millipede. Birds will eat millipedes. Quite a variety of species will eat millipedes.
It's got ants attacking it.
Yeah, you see that.
Yeah.
Look at them go. If they swarm him enough, they would be able to consume him now, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that they were more agitated that he was that close to their nest. So his name here is Shongololo, which I prefer much more than millipede. It rolls off the tongue so nicely. So we are going to head over to James, checking out a bird, possibly a bird that might eat a millipede. I'm not sure what he's looking at, but we'll have to ask him and see.
Might eat a millipede? No, I don't think so. The one we had previously would have eaten a millipede, perhaps. It was a woodland kingfisher, but this one is a grey-headed sparrow. This is the first bird of the morning. You will hear it at about, I'd say 4:10 most mornings, giving its little call. It's still doing it now, but I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. A domestic sparrow. But the reason it's sitting there and not moving and not going anywhere is that it almost certainly has a nest. It's just up on the next tree. They nest in little tree holes, obviously much smaller than most tree holes that are required by the birds out here on account of the fact that it is so very small. And in fact, one of the holes that it could be living in is on the main trunk of the first tree we saw it on. You can see a nice hole there. In fact, you can see a number of them. If you really scan up and down that trunk, you can see lots of potential homes. And I have to tell you, it is now starting to get pretty unpleasantly hot. Kirsten, what does your temperature say it is? Probably says it's something like 22. Yeah, 22.71 apparently. Let me tell you, it ain't going to remain like that. I'm sure that's because it's quite a shady there in the final control room. Alrighty, on we go. And while we are going on, let us go across to the Mara. A grey-headed sparrow to a grey-headed pachyderm. Aha!
Oh, I might not have had any luck with the cats today, but we do have this gentleman elephant bull to keep things calm on a Sunday morning. I feel it's truly in keeping with the spirit of the day. Gentle sunshine, animals are quiet, and sometimes peaceful moments like this are just as wonderful as exciting times with big cats. Hey, big boy. This is the bull elephant that we see regularly outside of our camp around this marshy area. So all of the water drains down from the escarpment into this particular spot, and obviously that means that the grasses here are delicious. So for a big male elephant like this, this is where he wants to be. Look at that. Inside that head is a brain 3 times the size of a human being's. He's been enjoying a mud bath, and he's given us this wonderful opportunity to watch the workings of his trunk, which no matter how long I sit and watch an elephant's trunk, it still fascinates me. The workings of the muscles, the coordination, the accordion-like nature as it stretches down, and in that incredibly sensitive tip that can be so powerful and yet so gentle when necessary. You can see the loose skin around it. All of those muscles in there working together in this perfectly coordinated manner to enable the trunk to move and curl in pretty much any direction the elephant wants to. It is the most fascinating structure. It is, of course, fused to his upper lip, and then along the top of his jaw, you could see where the tusks attach in. They, of course, are modified teeth. And that nose and then the mouth connects to a massive sinus cavity. Ellie Belly, let's have a close look. Not all of it is red grass around this particular area. A lot of that is panicum grass, which is a different type of grass to red grass. But that, okay, so that is pretty indistinct. But there's some eragrostis at the back, some loveseed grass, and then in front, waving about in the wind, that's red grass. So there's a couple of different species here. And yes, chances are he will want to feed off the good grasses, something like red grass. There's also quite a bit of herringbone grass around, which is a type of grass. The seed structure looks like the skeleton of a fish, hence why it's known as herringbone. I think it's still a little bit too early for James to do a lesson on grasses in South Africa, because of course bushwalk is the best possible place for that sort of thing. Gives you an opportunity to closely examine and talk about the different species. But we did do quite a bit yesterday. We spoke at length about the grasses. So yes, he could be eating some red grass, but it's not just red grass either. There's some signal grass as well. I'm trying to think if I brought my grass book, and I don't think I did. I don't think I brought my grass book to Kenya. Colbert, probably one of the Phragmites reed species would be one of the tallest species of grass. The red grass does get very tall though. It can reach up to 2 meters in height. It'll bend. And when I first arrived here, the grass was, at times, it was hitting us in the face as we were driving along the roads. So that's one of the tallest. I mean, I don't know exactly which one would be the record breaker, but red grass gets tall. The Phragmites, the reeds, get quite tall as well if you go into marshy areas. I'm not sure exactly which one holds the record for the longest inflorescence and stem. But the landscape is changing so fast. I almost wish we could have done a time lapse of an area, or been back every day. Taylor had this brilliant idea back when she first started of returning to the same place every day and getting you guys to take a screenshot and then tracking the progress of the grass and how it changed. And I thought that was sheer genius. And I think it is something that we should... It's almost too late, you know, because the grass has grown so much already, but perhaps we should do it. Perhaps we should pick a good spot. I'm not going to choose this spot, though. I don't think it's a very good place, but maybe somewhere at the base of the mountain, a place where we drive all the time, it would be a good idea. And even if we don't do it every day, every couple of days, perhaps I will not steal Taylor's idea, but keep it going for her while she's on leave. Now, Linda, looking at our elephant's wrinkly skin, and let's look back at him and have a look at what it is that Olinda's talking about. Now, Olinda is wondering about whether or not elephant's skin gets more wrinkly.
How do we ask God to make this next 20 minutes go?
Enough, when I see older elephants, I actually think they're less wrinkly than the younger ones. And I think that's because the skin loses elasticity, so it sort of stretches out a little bit. So no, I found in my observations that they seem to be less wrinkly, particularly around the head. And it's one of the ways that you can tell, not the exact age of the elephant, but roughly whether or not it's an old or a young elephant. And if you especially look around the skin at the top of the head, the forehead, the temporal region, it becomes quite sunken and almost stretched looking, like the skin has been pulled taut over the bones of the skull. And their bones just become more prominent. It makes sense. They lose subcutaneous fat, they lose condition, and they lose that elasticity in their skin. So I've almost found that old elephants are less wrinkly. Those wrinkles, of course, increasing the surface area of the elephant's skin, which in turn has a cooling effect. Plus, when they throw mud over their skin, it catches in the cracks and helps to keep them cool. And then there's the fact that they're just as large as they are. But they do sort of look as though they're wearing a skin that was stretched in the wash, don't they? Doesn't quite seem to fit. Especially around the elbows. Okay. We're going to carry on our search for some lions to show you this morning. I really feel like I owe Archie a big cat. So while we do that, let's send you back over to South Africa, where James has found something with many legs, and that is really very hungry.
Well, it's only got 6 legs, believe it or not. And as she said Archie, I was reminded, of course, of that comic strip, that fellow who had hair exactly the same colour as this caterpillar has got. Now, a caterpillar, although it looks like it might have a lot of legs, has only got 6 of them. And this one has definitely only got 6. So it's not like a millipede, of course, which has got hundreds. Isn't he spectacular? I have no idea what he'll become. But you wouldn't want him down your shirt, I'll tell you that for free. It'll be very uncomfortable. Ooh. Right, well, as he makes his way off towards the sunset, I've got something else for you to look at here. This is a tick. And we found it in a rhino midden. And I guess it was hoping to find a rhino. I actually suspect it was sitting on the, well, not to put a finer point on it, on the exit of the rhino, if you know what I mean. I think that's where it was sitting. And it came out when the rhino made his dung, his morning ablutions on his midden. And now he's waiting for something else. He's now waving at you. Can you see? He's waving. Hello. Now this tick will give you some kind of rickettsia, some kind of tick bite fever. I feel very little affection for ticks, I must say, having suffered from it myself. So that's a nice tick. And I don't know what it's called. I didn't once know what it was called. It's called a skullback, actually, I think, because it looks like it's got a skull on its back. Something like that. Right, and astounding to think, I think, that a tick like this could get its mouth parts into and through the skin of a rhinoceros. That I really do find absolutely astounding. And I've seen them often on rhinos. This is not an anomaly. You often see them in the mud that rhino have scraped off themselves on rubbing posts. You'll see ticks exactly like this stuck in that mud. All right, I suppose I shouldn't keep you going any longer. I suppose I should respect your life as much as I respect anything else out here, but you really do make it very difficult, and many of you are going, ew. I don't blame you. All right, off we go, Ticky. Ugh. On we go. Now, Noelle is, as it gets hotter, perhaps going to take a swim, perhaps not, and the thing that she's got is going to show you why she isn't.
Yeah, James, I'm definitely not going to take a swim with this monstrous croc that is sunbathing itself on the shores of Chitwa Dam, just in front of Chitwa Lodge. It's a big croc. And again, when we see it in the water, just a little head, not as big, but I mean, look at that. 3 meters. So what is that? 9 foot. Now, we also have, of course he goes under the water. They do this every time. Every time I want to show you this wonderful hippo, he just keeps going underwater. So we turn the camera on, he dives under, we position the camera away, he pops back up. But let's just give him a moment. He should pop back up just now. He's investigating. It's interesting. We came and we stopped on the dam wall, and he came from basically the other side of the dam. Can you see the ripples there moving?
Yeah.
Cute. Oh, there we go. Hello, sir. He came from the other side of the dam to come and investigate us. There we go. You can get a measure of his size when he's doing this. Now I say he just because I haven't seen any youngsters around him, but look, in general you can sort of say it's a male by the size of the head when it's just in the water as opposed to a female, but again, it's all relative. My gut is saying male, so we're going to stick with the male. That reflection is nice off the water there. Seb and I were chatting about how it's less windy in the mornings here at Chitwa Dam, and so we're getting very nice reflections. Lucian, you're wondering, do hippos see a lion when they're on the ground? Am I repeating that correctly? So, lions will attack hippos. They'll eat them. They won't necessarily get in the water to eat them. If a hippo's in the water like this and sees a lion at the bank, it'll probably keep an eye on it. They can definitely see them. The only time I've ever seen lions attacking hippos is when they're out of the water. And I've also seen hyenas. I saw a clan of hyenas take down a medium to full-sized female that had just come out of the water in one evening, but it was sort of like 20 or 30 hyenas all together. He's giving us the hairy eyeball. They can see above and below the water, so inside the water and above the water, but when he puts his eyes like he just had them now, where there's water sort of halfway up, their pupils are shaped like the letter T, so at that point he literally can see above and below the water at the same time. It's amazing. Hippos are one of the creatures where I'm just astounded at what nature has done. Just through the fact of how they use their eyesight, to the fact that they lose so much moisture through their skin than most of any other mammal, and so therefore they spend a lot of time during the day in the water, and if they're out, especially during wintertime, if they're out, they secrete that sort of pink fluid that works like a sunscreen. They can communicate through their lower jawbone underwater. I mean, they're an incredible creature. Sorry, are you asking, are hippos bothered by things like leeches? Okay. Thanks, Kirst. Look, that is a super interesting question. Are hippos bothered by leeches? So leeches are not bloodsuckers all the time. They only suck blood when they have the opportunity to do so. And I would actually be interested to know if they would to go onto a hippo. I have not encountered leeches in a body of water as big as this. I've encountered them in smaller bodies of water. So I can't answer your question for 100%. I have to ponder it a little bit and think about it. Let me chat with some friends and see if any of them have encountered anything like that, or heard of anything like that, and I'll get back to you this afternoon. Such an interesting thought. Thank you. My homework. Joe, you're wondering if hippos chase crocodiles? Most definitely. They definitely do. Hippos are very strong-jawed. They can crack a crocodile in half with their jaw. When I worked up in the Mara, I watched a crocodile catch a baby zebra and a hippo chase it away and then eat the zebra itself. I've watched hippos during a crossing. There was zebra and wildebeest crossing, and I watched the hippos chasing the crocs away from the adult zebra and wildebeest that were trying to cross there. I've watched, a situation where something like this big croc on the bank here moves off into the water and a hippo goes right up to it. So they definitely do chase. I don't think they spend a huge amount of their time chasing crocodiles around, but they definitely are not afraid to remove them from their space. That's for sure. So peaceful at the dam right now. There's a few Egyptian geese calling from the background. We had some francolins calling from behind us. But it's a very tranquil spot at the moment. He's decided that we're not worth investigating anymore. Joy, you're curious to know, do hippos close their nostrils when they go underwater? That is definitely for sure. They do close their nostrils. They close their ears. They close their nostrils, and as they go under, they'll sometimes close their eyes, and then they can open them again. So hippos are mammals, so they need to breathe air like we do. So they'll close their nostrils and then go under. They can hold their breath for sort of 10 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer, and then come up and breathe out and breathe in and go under again. Or do what this male is doing right now, which is sort of laying there and with his nose above and able to breathe. Notice when he turns his head, don't go under, buddy. Do you see how his nostrils stick up like that? So that he can get as much air as he needs to get without having to lift his head too high. All right, well, it is now warmed up. It feels like about 10 degrees. We're going to start meandering towards another dam and see if we can pick up some elephants. But while we're doing that, James is stalking a furry creature, and he would like to show you who.
Well, I'm not stalking it because I'm standing, luckily we're up on top of the dam wall here, and I'm in the shade. Viam has very kindly gone out into the sun to show you the picture of the Nyala. 4 bulls that were having a little morning drink at the dam, and their colour is just really pretty in amongst the new green leaves of the drainage line. It's a barred owl calling. Proo, 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 proo. And also a very, very excitable Diedrich's cuckoo going. Very nice. Trying to see what else I can hear. There it is. Hang on. It's just flown up top into that acacia tree there. There, we don't get acacia trees here anymore, sorry, that's Vicilia. Is it a Vicilia or is it a Senegalia? Thank you, Judy H, for that. I think that is a Vicilia. Looks like the old Robusta.
The one I got is a starling.
You've got a starling there. Yeah, there is definitely a starling calling in there. Blue-eared, glossy starling going. That's a knobthorn. It is a Senegalia nigrescens. And in case you're wondering why I say we don't get acacias here anymore, of course they are no longer considered African trees. All of the members of the Mimosae family that live, a dung beetle, that live in Australia are now acacias, and we have Senegalias and Vachilias. Hello, how are you? Are you well? You don't look very well. You look a little bit sort of, well hung over, frankly. Did you have a wedding perhaps last night, or a birthday party? Hello? I think he's not long for this world, I'm afraid. Feels quite cold. I think she's going to pass on, shake off this mortal coil. Now, many dung beetles, of course, are flighted. In other words, they can fly. This one, if you look at it from the other side, has got a fused carapace. So its elytra, which are the wing covers, are fused, which means that it cannot open them up, and therefore it does not fly. It does not have wings. I'm sorry, old fellow, that you don't seem to be very happy with life, that time has passed you by, and that it is time for you to go to that great, big, tasty dung ball in the sky. It was nice to give somebody a nice send-off, you know what I mean? Herbert's found something else here. What have you found, Herbert? You're pointing at a hole, Oh, a dung beetle rolling a ball. Herbert, how skilled do you think VM is exactly? There is a dung beetle rolling a ball. We can't get through this wall of strychnos though, so we'll go around the side and have a look at it there. And while we do that, we'll go across to Jamie, who apparently has what is known as content. I don't know what that means.
I hear that James has been singing some funeral songs. Perhaps he could sing a lament for my lucky streak, which appears to have reached its final conclusion for now. I can't find anything. I can't even find your topi to show you. It's ridiculous. It's alright. Sunday mornings are meant for quiet bubbles. I'm just going to keep telling myself that. I was convinced we could at least find the Angama pride, but I haven't even managed that. There's just this vast open space and there's no animals today. They obviously had a really big party last night. Saturday night. Now having a snooze. Even the birds are sleeping. Okay, so, well, since I've got nothing else around me, I'll tell you about my plans for today. No, I won't. No, I won't. I won't, because it sounds as though James has had more luck on foot, and in this particular case, he's managed to find a living dung beetle.
They are utterly relentless. Look at this fellow. Now, well, lady, I think she is. She's probably an incubation ball with an egg in it. She is pushing it up a slope that you and I would struggle to walk down, and she's just completely relentless about it. She could easily trip or hit a sort of snag and roll all the way back down again. She'll just keep going. Now, this is a flighted dung beetle. She is able to fly, and you might just be able to see in amongst the branches there that she's got a very distinct stripe along her carapace, along her elytra, and those just fold back to reveal very delicate wings that she uses to fly like a bush helicopter. Look at the relentless strength she's bringing to bear to this task. She's gone 2/3 of the way up. She's slipped back down again. This does not look good. Push, my dear, push. No, don't push that way. I'm desperate to kind of help her. Should we help her, Vim?
Nah.
No.
No, she doesn't want your help. She can do it herself.
Oh, I think she's found a hole. I think she's found a hole. I think she might actually bury it exactly where she is there. No? Oh dear. Where are you going? Oh, she's now digging. Who is she? No, she's moving. Back up again. Oh, you're not going to get past there. I can't bear this. I sort of feel like it would be okay to help her because we are the reason she can't get up here. Yes, Tim, you're absolutely correct. You say when they go on top of the dung ball like that, are they orientating themselves? It's exactly what they're doing. I really find this quite difficult to watch. I think I'm going to help her. I'm sorry, everybody. I know we're... Oh, is she digging now or is she pushing? No, she's digging. Hang on.
You see, you almost made a lot.
Well, you see, exactly. That's why, even in the most sort of seemingly awful situation, our interference was seldom a good idea. She's digging now. She's not very good, this dung beetle, I feel. No, she is. Look, she knows where her ball is. Now she's digging a hole for it. Go, girl. Come on. You're doing a fantastic job. Goodness, I didn't pick her up. Using that exceptional head of hers with its built-in spade to dig. And her leggies, of course. You can hear the Diederik's cuckoo encouraging her as well. Bittersweet, you're wondering how the egg hatches if it's inside the dung ball. Well, the chamber inside, I suppose, contains enough space for it. But it then eats the dung, you see. That's what the whole design is for. So it is born into its breakfast, if you like. Now watch this. This is the best part for me. Don't push it too far, my dear. Look how clever she is. And slowly that ball will just disappear. Isn't she brilliant? See how she went to fetch the ball? Just to put it on the side. Now she'll push it in. Oh, wow. I don't know how long it takes for them to hatch. I don't think very long. Maybe a week or two. So, you know, by the time the summer's ended, that dung beetle inside the ball there will be an adult, I imagine. This is very cool. It won't be deep under the ground. This is the bit that I find so amazing. Is that it's almost imperceptible, but that ball is millimetre by millimetre getting deeper and deeper into the soil as she digs around the side of it and underneath it. She's completely underneath it now. There we go. Just ever so slightly getting deeper and deeper. It'd be quite nice to actually mark this point and see if we shouldn't, you know, if we can't come back here and see what's happened. Are you impressed, Vim? By her excavating skills? I think this is just fantastic stuff. Come on, my dear. Get on with it. She looks like she's got a little bit tired. See, slowly, it's now halfway in, probably a little bit more even. Just fantastic. Almost imperceptible movement there. I wonder if she'll bury the whole thing, if she'll just leave a little piece of it sticking out like that. Kristen, you want to know if she'll get defensive or upset if I touch the ball. They've got this venom that they spit which can blind you. No, I'm talking rubbish. Yes, they fight each other if they touch each other's balls, so I imagine that she'd probably... That came out all wrong, didn't it? I imagine that she might stand in some sort of defensive posture, but, they don't bite and they can't really fight you off. So I don't think she'd be too upset. I'm sure that they lose a lot of them to theft. It's nearly gone now. See, it's almost imperceptible. And I can just hear her. You won't be able to hear her, but I can hear just the little sort of odd bit of excavation sound, a snapping grass root or something underneath there. Isn't that amazing? Weedy. The main predator of these dung balls, I suppose, would be honey badgers. They like to dig them up and dig out the larvae and eat them. But a bird would, if a hardy-dar ibis or something like that detected the movement of the larva underneath the soil, then absolutely they would have a go at it. It's almost gone. You can hardly notice it disappearing. And every time you look away and you look back again, just a bit more of it is under the ground. This is the equivalent, as Herbert pointed out to me, of us being able to bury and push a 20,000-litre tank of water. That's how strong and adept this beetle is. There we go. Come on, my dear. Out you get. Let's give this thing another, I don't know, maybe 20 seconds. And then we'll head across to the cheetah, which don't seem to be doing a great deal at the moment. And we'll leave this amazing beetle in peace. Be a great time lapse this. Oh, there it goes. She's a genius. She's a genius of excavation, this lady. Alrighty, let's leave her there, and we'll hand you back to the Masai Mara, and this will be our final time together on Bushwalk today. Goodbye.
Well, you can see the cheetahs are sleeping. I've even started to feel a little bit like a cheetah after sitting here for the last couple of hours. I almost want to go find myself a patch of sun, stretch out, and have a little snooze. There we go. We can actually see that the claws there quite nicely, and the fact that they are not fully inside, so the semi-retractable claws. There we go. You can see them. Now, of course, that's a special adaptation to help with grip and balance when reaching those incredibly high speeds. So the fastest ever recorded speed of a cheetah is about 68 miles per hour, just 110 kilometers an hour. So incredibly fast animals, although they can be incredibly flat and slow as they are at the moment. Well, not so slow, as rather sleeping. Angie would like to know, how long do I think cheetah nails are? Wow. It's a difficult question, Angie. Just looking, so obviously we're not seeing the full claw there. So probably full extension 6 centimeters, 7 centimeters at the biggest. I would guess. And Joey, don't you want to jump out and go grab that thing's foot and tell me how long the claws are? No, only joking, of course. Yeah, about 5 or 6 centimeters would be my guess. I'm trying to remember now. We do have a clone of a 3D print of a cheetah claw in the studio, and I'm trying to remember that size, and that's about 5 or 6 centimeters. Oh, one moved its head. You're licking. That means it's time to get up. Oh, it's a stretch as well. A stretch into the sleep. We all do that, you know, and you wake up in the morning, have a little stretch, and then you're like, okay, no, actually, I'm going back to sleep. I definitely did one of those this morning, but I didn't go back to sleep. I got up and went on game drive. Now, I stayed up very late last night, well, very late for me, and that was to watch the South African rugby team play. It was a dismal performance, but we won at least by 1 point against the French. Oh, Secretary Bird. Striding across the plains. Oh, apparently the Djuma team were going to watch it this morning. Well, I didn't say what the score was. I just said it was a very long game. It was a very long game. It ended just after 1 a.m. here, but unfortunately, I managed to stay awake and managed to make it back to bed, and in time to get up for this morning's drive. And it's been a good drive so far this morning. We had that wonderful hyena sighting, and we've managed to find the boys a bit earlier than we did yesterday. Yesterday we found them probably at about 10:30, and they were very flat, just like they are now, but they were very fat then. They're not so fat now, so it's definitely worth us taking the time to sit with them. I'd say probably till about midday, maybe a bit longer. They're definitely going to hunt this evening, but unfortunately at the moment we're very far from home. It takes us quite a while to get here. So the other camp we stay at, sometimes Shaiki, is full at the moment. So we're staying at Sala's, which is, oh, we can actually see Survey Hill from here, right in the distance. There we go. That little bump way down there is Survey Hill. So Silas is still another good 3.5, 4 kilometers to the left of that, down on the Sand River. So we'll have to make some decisions a little bit later, but for now we're very happy to be sitting with the musketeers. And if you're not with them, you're never not going to know what's going to happen. Some wildebeest might walk in, a Thompson's gazelle might stumble upon them. As I say, you absolutely have no idea what could happen next on a live African safari. That is the joy. And I couldn't think of too many better ways. There we go. See what I'm saying? I think he's just moving to the shade. Oh, he's flopped down again. As D'Artagnan got up, gave me a little bit of excitement, but then just flopped into a better bit of shade. So there's quite a lot of animals around. So as I said, there's probably not too many better ways to spend a Sunday than sitting next to 5 male cheetah. So as I say, we're going to play the patience game. We're going to keep sitting here, but let's see how Jamie's faring back in the Mara Triangle.
I'm doing fine, thanks. Back in the Mara Triangle, in the northern part of the Mara Triangle. Oh, we've got something lovely coming up. This is going to be so nice because we're right down below them. Hopefully, if I pop myself here, eye level with an elephant. Actually, a little bit lower than the elephants. not often that we get to look up at them. Very seldom, in fact. Or at least look up at this sort of angle. So this entire herd is what I was aiming for. I saw them at a distance. Sorry, something just dashed into the forest to the left of me. No, I don't know what it was. I think it was an antelope. Oh, whatever it is long gone. I've just caught the movement out of the corner of my eye. Anyway, so this is what I was aiming for. Since all of the other animals seemed to be hiding away, I saw this herd of elephants from far away and decided it looked as though they were moving towards this road, which is exactly where they seemed to be going. Can you believe you're looking at a female elephant? It astounds me just how massive they are here. Hello guys, good morning. I'm actually, now that we've got this lovely angle, I'm actually thinking of going a little bit further up the road so that we can look at the youngsters and be a bit closer to where they're heading. So they're moving in a certain direction. It'd be nice if we can be a bit closer. And there's quite a few youngsters in this herd, so let's go and see if they're feeling playful. Sunday morning with Ellie's. It's not a bad way to spend a day. Hi guys. I apologize, Kirst. I don't know why. It keeps breaking up. I know Scarlett's asked a question about something being hollow or solid, but I don't know if it was a trunk or a tusk that we were chatting about, or that she was asking about. The tusks. Okay, so Scarlett, the elephant's tusks are completely 100% solid. So they're made of the same substance that your teeth are made of. They are teeth. They are modified teeth. Hello, big girl. I can't even believe you're a lady. You are so massive. So they're solid. Completely. And the reason that elephant tusks are favored in the way that they are, yes, it's alright, for working ivory, is because they're very fine-grained, and of course they're big, which makes them, in a very, very distressing way, useful to people who decide that they somehow need to have a decoration that's made of an animal's tooth. And it's largely the fact that just their size that makes them such an attractive prospect for those sorts of decorations. Very sadly, of course, that means that they are one of the more threatened animals when it comes to poachers. Snazzy, is the size of an elephant ever a danger to their health? I wouldn't have said so, no. I guess they continue to grow throughout their lives. Once they reach a certain point, then obviously they've worn down their teeth. They are at their final set out of 6 teeth that they will have throughout their lifetime. And then the fact that they are a massive size and they need to eat constantly becomes a problem because they can't chew their food properly. But no, there's never a point that an elephant, as far as I know, grows and becomes too heavy for its joints, or becomes, I mean, they're adapted to be the way that they are, and the physiological adaptations in their bodies are geared towards being excessively large, from their lungs to the foot structure with the spongy tissue on the bottom. Everything on an elephant is perfectly designed. You might find that there might have been some kind of recorded case of an elephant not having the gene that controls growth, but I don't think so. So no, size is probably never a problem to their health. Size will always be an advantage, actually, for a male elephant. Sorry, I couldn't hear that name again. But we have a question about how it is that an elephant breathes. And the answer is they can breathe Ask me. Ask me. Ask me is asking a question. Ask me wants to know how an elephant breathes. Through their nose, and they can breathe through their mouths as well. So it's a combination of both. The trunk is a nose, essentially. It's a modified nose, but it is a nose. And therefore there are two passages, just like we have in our noses. Hello, little girl. Tiny little baby there. Keeping up with mum. But then, just like human beings, if their trunk is occupied with something, if they're busy using it, then they can breathe through their mouths as well. An elephant breathing rate is slow. So because they are so massive, their breaths are much larger than ours and much slower than ours. An elephant heart beats at around about, 20 to 30 beats per minute. Well, come past me then if you want to. Go ahead. Oh, let me just move for this person. Sorry. Sorry, Arch. Let's just move slightly. Before they... Well, if you're going to come that way, then you better give me some space to... There you go. Let's have a look at that little baby elephant again. Morning. Fine, thanks. How are you? Sorry, we're just in the middle of a live broadcast.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to ask a question. Do you know what the main road is? So we can join in from there?
Where are you trying to get to?
Towards the Ololo gate.
Oh, so to the Olololo gate, you can go here, but you have to go right immediately, back onto the main road, and then along that way.
Too far off, is it?
This is quite a long road, and it loops around, and then you can go down to the right, and then back onto... It's just a big loop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it easier to go back?
Easier to go back, I would say. Yeah, and then just go all the way along the main road.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Alright, bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Shame, didn't realize they were trying to find directions to get out of here. Well, they nearly made it. Lots of mud covering the elephants, much like the people's car who just asked for directions. So they've obviously been enjoying some mud bathing yesterday by the looks of things. So every now and again we get herds of elephants that come right up into our camp. Where are you running? Did you lose Mum? Wait, Mum. Coming. Just to give you an idea of how tall the grass is, it's almost at the point where baby elephants disappear. There we go. There's Mum. Is that Mum? No, Mum looks very wide. That's a pregnant elephant. She appears, is my imagination, or does she appear to be particularly bulging? She really does to me. I think baby's on its way to the next female. No, that was definitely a pregnant elephant. The Mara seems to be filled with them at the moment. Pregnant zebras, pregnant giraffe, pregnant ellies. I am, of course, the master of giving directions. Kirsty says that there's lots of comments about my directions. I give fantastic directions. I've also become very accustomed, I spoke about this a few days ago or a few drives ago, very accustomed to the Mara style of direction giving, which is, you know that one bush over there once. You know that tree? Yes? So you go to the tree, and then you turn left, and then it's 2 kilometers away from the tree. Okay. It's become something I've learned all about. I could have sent them along this road. I haven't yet managed to get terribly lost, but I've come close a few times. But I could have sent them on the loop road, but it just would have taken them an extra half an hour to get to where they want to go. And it looks as though they've been stuck in the mud already once today. I feel as though it's probably enough for them. They've had it. They're out. They want to go to Olololo Gate. Okay, let's shift up a bit further. The rest of the herd's still on its way, but it's taken a slightly different angle. Okay, well, I move slightly to get a better view of these elephants. Let's go and see whether Brent has got a good view of his cheetah and what they're up to.
Well, it's the same view as a little bit earlier. One of the boys has moved a little bit deeper into the shade. There's still no sign of any possible prey species coming along. But as you say, the most important weapon in our toolbox for bringing you fantastic sightings is patience. But there's always other stuff around. Ah, there we go. There is a swallow. Please don't fly away. Please don't fly away. You see the little stone over there? He is sitting on top of it. Let me get my... There's my bird. There we go. I'm pretty sure I didn't actually even have a good look at it. So I didn't actually see which swallow that was. Maybe he's going to land back there. Yep. He's going to land back in the same spot. Let's have a look now. Oh, that's a good one. Now, I'm going to let you guys try ID this one. So if you know what bird that is, hashtag Safari Live. What bird is that? While we wait for our cheetah to decide to get up and get a moving. There's always stuff around. So sometimes up on these crests there's a little bit less, especially on a day like today. The wind is really howling. So what we've actually done is we repositioned so our backs to the wind, because earlier we were sort of being blown away. And the cheetah have done sort of the same. All of them are lying with their backs to the wind. Mita, aged 8, says, what do I like more, cheetah, leopard, or lion cubs? Mita, I think I like them all equally. Lion cubs can be very, very cute, and cheetah cubs are exquisite. Leopard cubs are amazing. So I think I like them all equally. I'm not going to choose one. Now, I wonder if everyone's thinking about that little bird we just saw. Because I think it could be quite a difficult one. Fiona and Mark said a swallow. Well, I said it looked like a swallow. I didn't say it was a swallow. So it is actually not a swallow. I think it's back on that rock if you want to have another look, for those who are trying to figure out what it is. Or is that a different bird there now? No, I think it's the same one. Likes that spot. Yeah, it is what I thought it was. Just double checking. Mita says, is it a white-throated swallow? As I said, it's not a swallow. It's a relative of the swallows, or a type of swallow, but not called swallow. Mark, it is not a lark. It is a member of the swallow family. And I'm not going to give it away just yet to which one it is. Now, there's two that you get. Bushmum, we're in the right area. Bushmum says a banded martin. It is a martin, but it is not a banded martin. I was about to say there's two that are very similar looking. And but Oh, I say bushbum, that's close enough. It's a sand martin. So I'll show you why it's... Giselle, a purple martin? No, unfortunately not. And I'll tell you why it's a sand martin and not a banded martin. So when we had a look at its head, banded martin has that little white eye stripe, which the sand martin doesn't. And the sand martins are quite common in this area at this time of the year, and sometimes we see them in very big flocks, particularly around the Mara River, but they occur throughout the Mara as they hawk insects over the short grasses and long grasses for that matter. So there we go. Sand martin, not a banded martin. Now, unfortunately, there's not many other birds around. I've been well, Matthew, you got it right. According to Kirsten, you said it was a bird. As I said, there's not many other birds around. I'm having a quick look. Can't see any offhand. Those wildebeest that were a bit close have moved away now. So I think we're going to have to get lucky. And hopefully something walks into where we're sitting. But while we sit here and play the patience game, let's go back to Jamie and those wonderful elephants.
The wonderful elephants, and in this case a wonderful elephant minus a tail. This is the second elephant in this particular herd that I've noticed doesn't have a tail. Is it me, or does it seem to be more common in the Mara than it is in South Africa? Or is it just because we see more elephants? But I feel as though we often see elephants with stumpy tails here. I don't know why that would be. I don't know if it's to do with the number of lions and hyenas, perhaps escapes, when they were very small. Lucky escapes. Crocodiles, unlikely. I mean, occasionally an elephant's trunk gets grabbed by a crocodile, but I've never seen a crocodile grab an elephant's tail before. So I don't know. It's an interesting one. But I really have noticed that there are more stumpy-tailed elephants in the Mara than there are in South Africa. Don't ask me why. It's one of those things. There must be an explanation. There really has to be. There's something I wanted to show you while these elephants are quiet and comfortable. We can keep watching them because they're nice and peaceful. But because Brent is with Cheetah, I wanted to show you a video that I was sent yesterday, or play you a video that I was sent yesterday, with Cheetah vocalizations. And this isn't going to be very exciting to watch, Archie. I'm sorry. I'm actually just going to lift my phone up to my hat. So this came from my friend Emma with two cheetah called Songo and Sanana that I used to work with. But listen to the vocalizations. Interesting, huh? Sounds like a dinosaur. It's the grrr that fascinates me, because I've only ever heard the boys make that sound when they fight. But apparently what happened was the two males, there was a female, and they think in estrus, and the two males separated, and they vanished off into different directions, and then were calling for each other and trying to find each other. I don't know. Interesting. I just thought you might like to hear that. We often talk about cheetah vocalizations, but quite a few times when we hear it in the Mara, we can't show it to you because the wind is howling and they're too far away, or we just don't manage to catch it. So there you go. Cheetahs sound like birds. Although Emma described that as a velociraptor. She decided that was, and I kind of agree with her. Anyway, not to distract you for too long from the peaceful Ellies, there's an elephant with a backwards tusk. So stumpy tails and backwards tusks and all sorts of things here. Lauren, it's a question that we've often asked, and I'm curious to know what's on that elephant's back. I'm wondering if a bird didn't actually defecate on it, because that's certainly what it looks like. Sorry, Lauren. So Lauren's question... It is. It's bird dung, bird feces. Sorry, elephant. It's meant to be good luck, though. Lauren's wondering about whether elephants ever get colds, and if so, how does it affect them? I'm sure there are times when they get blocked trunks, stuffy trunks, not necessarily due to the cold virus. I don't think that there's many viruses floating around of that nature within wild populations of animals. Certainly TB is one thing that is prevalent, but it's not, I mean, obviously it's not what I'm going for. I'm talking specifically about cold or flu viruses. And as far as I know, it doesn't really spread all that often around wild animals. I could be mistaken about that, but I'm sure that they do get blocked trunks. You know, let's say they have a day when something gets lodged up there. Perhaps a grass seed that was in the water, and it gets stuck and they can't get it out, and they must get blocked trunks every now and again. And occasionally when you do listen to an elephant breathe, when it's right up close to you, you can hear it wheezing in a way. You can hear the air whistling through their trunks. But otherwise, I don't think it would affect them in a major way. Their immune systems are pretty resilient. And they're not really exposed to colds or flu like that. But it is a question we often get asked. Interestingly enough, elephants do get arthritis. It's one of the first things I ever learned while I was working at Safari Live. It was a question that Scott got asked, and he came back and asked us all, and we spoke about it, and we looked it up. Elephants do get arthritis, but very seldom in wild elephants. It tends to be in captive elephants. I don't know why my brain made that connection. It was just talking about common human ailments. For some reason, colds came to mind, arthritis came to mind. So generally speaking, when it comes to health problems, elephants are resilient to them. The big problem they might have would be around their digestive system, especially captive elephants. They tend to get upset stomachs. Wild elephants know how to feed themselves, they know how much to feed themselves, they know what to eat when they don't feel well. To the point that baby elephants will chew on certain types of trees and leaves when they've got sore teeth, when they've got teething problems. Something like a spike thorn or a silver cluster leaf helps to numb the gums. It's basically the elephant equivalent of, I don't know if you get tea gel or if it's a South African thing. I'm sure it's a worldwide thing. Tea gel, the numbing cream that you can give to kids when they're teething. Elephants know how to do that too. Now I'm imagining an elephant with a head cold. The trumpets would be hilarious. Can you just imagine? I can't imitate an elephant with a blocked nose. I could try, but I don't think it'll work very well. And probably slightly going into the realms of the absurd there. So, thus we come to the end of another gorgeous morning. Quiet morning on our side, or at least on my side here in the Northern Triangle. But it is the end of the sunrise safari, and we always have the sunset safari to look forward to this afternoon. So thank you to Archie, wonderful camera work as always. I'm sorry I didn't find you a nice big cat to film, but it's just one of those things. And as well as to Rebecca, who is directing us from the Mara FC, and Kirsty, who is directing us from the Djuma Final Control. The biggest thank you, you all know, goes to you. It wouldn't be as much fun doing what we do if you weren't watching and sending through your questions and your comments. We will see you this afternoon for the Sunset Safari. I don't know what it will hold, but I'm sure it will be exciting.